Severe Typhoon Hato battered Hong Kong today with hurricane-force winds that uprooted trees, blew out windows and caused serious flooding. The city was brought to a standstill as the Hong Kong Observatory issued the maximum hurricane signal number 10 for the first time in 5 years. Rachel Leung begins our coverage.
A city on lockdown as a maximum category storm slams into Hong Kong. Hato churned up water across the city's coastline and triggered large swells and massive waves on some of Hong Kong's most popular beaches. Some surfers turned up to take advantage of the great waves at Hato, but had second thoughts when they got there.
No, I knew there was a typhoon, but I didn't know it was going to be quite as crazy as it is. Oh, but look at it. I mean, I've never seen it this high.
In residential districts like Kung Fa Chun on Hong Kong Island, massive waves smashed against the sides of oceanfront buildings, surging over promenades and swamping vehicles nearby. Inside this waterlogged entrance are at least 10 cars, whose anxious owners had to wait for firemen to drain the water before they could access the damage, if any, to their vehicles. But some vehicles were getting nowhere. There was little headroom left at the Spaceman car park in Kung Fa Chun. When stairs to the car park flooded so badly, it's easy to see why car owners stood anxiously at the entrance. This woman said the management didn't warn them to move their vehicles beforehand. She estimates that up to 30 other cars faced the same fates as hers. Liumun village in East Kowloon was flooded, leaving some villagers stranded. Police vehicles and fire trucks were unable to enter the village because of the flood. Firefighters had to resort to getting there on foot to rescue the villagers, including 2 men who were trapped inside a building. They also brought to safety a man and 2 women who called the police for assistance at around 9 a.m. In Sha Tin, the Shingmun River's water level was also much higher than usual earlier today. Nearby roads were left flooded and trees collapsed. The Hong Kong Observatory had warned today that sea levels could rise several meters in some places, with the government issuing flood alerts and opening 27 shelters across the city. A flood alert system was activated in Tai O, which is usually hard hit by floods, as a storm surge associated with the high tide could lead to several flooding in low-lying areas. The storm edged nearer to the city at 5:20 this morning, and that's when the observatory decided to issue the number 8 northeast gale or storm signal. As winds picked up at 8:10 a.m., the increasing gale or storm signal number 9 was issued. Only an hour later, that was upgraded to the hurricane signal number 10, the highest level for the first time since July 2012. It remained in force for 5 hours. By 5:10 p.m., as Hato had made landfall over Zhuhai, the observatory downgraded it to a strong wind signal number 3. Rachel Leung, TVB News.
Well, Hato wreaked havoc in Hong Kong as it flooded different parts of town and disrupted land, sea and air traffic. Elmi Leung with details.
This will make you wonder if it's really that safe to stay indoors. Maintenance platforms smashed into a flat in Hong Kong after a cable snapped in the storm. The impact of Hato is evident. Apart from the flooding at Lei Yu Mun village, Lau Fau Shan, another area best known for its seafood restaurants, also found residents stranded in waters at near levels. Hato also left behind trails of collapsed trees around town and uprooted one which blocked off the road to United Christian Hospital. Ambulances took detours to ferry patients to other hospitals. Public transport services mostly ground to a halt when Hato swept across the region. Hundreds of flights were cancelled at Hong Kong International Airport. Passengers were left waiting in the taxi queue for hours as the Airport Express and buses stopped running. At one point, the MTR only operated its underground services at 15-minute intervals. Public transport gradually resumed in the late afternoon as Hato moved away from Hong Kong. Elmi Leung, TVB News.
And the impact of Hato was deadly in Macau. At least 3 people were killed while 2 more remain missing. Authorities also had to deal with serious flooding in parts of the city. Caleb Long with that story.
The enclave's northwestern area, including Fai Chi Keng near the border, was one of the hardest hit on the Macau Peninsula. It saw serious flooding, with some witnesses saying that the water level reached their chests. The inner harbor area was also severely flooded, with the water level reaching people's knees. According to the Macau government, several were killed when Hato struck the territory. That included a 30-year-old worker who was hit by a fallen wall and a 45-year-old mainland tourist who was run over by a heavy vehicle in a hit-and-run accident. The authorities received at least 168 incident reports, including collapsed trees and scaffolding. There was also a massive power outage in the city. According to Radio Macau, the power cut was linked to an extensive shutdown in the neighboring city of Zhuhai. Macau is able to generate its own power, but it's insufficient to meet the needs of the entire territory. Water supply was also interrupted by the storm. KW TVB News.